Chloe is an award-winning singer-songwriter who's with us here today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. I'm alive.
Yeah, that's always a good start to the day, I feel.
It's a very good start.
Yeah.
A very good start.
Absolutely. Now, first of all, you've got a new release out at the moment called So Damn Lucky. So can you just describe the basic idea behind that song for us, first of all?
Well, that song I wrote when I got out of the hospital this time around. Been there quite a few times. And this time around was after a double lung transplant.
Wow.
Got home. Music has always been sort of my therapy, basically. I hide in my room and go crazy writing music to bring myself kind of back spiritually. And I just wrote this song, So Damn Lucky. It's all about what it says, basically the title, which is that, you know, when you experience this basically dying and coming back to life, the perspective you have is so different.
Oh, yeah.
With regard to everything. And I just feel so lucky to be alive. And all these problems, you know, that we think we have, you know. It's like, really? Are they really problems compared to big things, you know? And man, just being alive is such a gift. And it sounds so corny, but it's so true, you know, and everything else is like, as I say, an added bonus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find it's quite cathartic to write about things like this that have been hard?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. It's my therapy. I've never been one to go to therapy, though it has occasionally been suggested for my brain, because of course my mind goes in, you know, every different direction. Yeah. But therapy for me has absolutely always been music. And I find that the more that's going on, the more I write. So it's definitely my way through, you know, through the experiences.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. And if you're going to be completely honest with me here, how long did the song take you to write from start to finish?
Well, that's a good question. Not long, and I'll tell you, usually by not long, I mean, I don't get up until I'm done. So I'm not one of those, let's let it rest, let's see what goes on. If the song's not going to happen, I'm like, all right, goodbye and thank you. But if it's going to happen and I'm like, okay. In other words, if it writes itself, because I have those write itself experiences, it's not long, but I, again, won't get up until it's done. So that probably took me, I would say, you know, 4 to 5 hours, or you know, just kind of going in, going out, redoing. Then the only thing that I'll kind of go back into are lyrics. Melodically, it's always what it is, and that's it. I don't ever change my melodies, but lyrics I tend to go back and rework. So not long, but you know, it's like I tell people, they're like, wow, you write, you know, some songs I'll write in like 15 minutes, some songs I'll write in a very long time, and it takes time sometimes to write short songs, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like you have to write a lot of stuff that takes a lot of time to get to where you can write quickly, you know?
Yeah. And you preferring to do it all in the one go instead of coming back to it at different points, is that a personality thing, or is there a specific reason in your mind that you do that?
I think it's a personality thing. I think it might not be the wisest option because perspective can be good. Excuse me, as I drink my water that looks like vodka. But anyway, I think that it probably would serve me to go back and, you know, go at it. And I've worked with a lot of songwriters, you know, amazing songwriters that do that specifically. They'll take time away. And I'm just so compulsive in what I do. And I like to finish everything I start, whatever that may be. So I just have to finish it. And then once it's done, if I don't finish something, my fear also is that I'll start to memorize something that's not right. And then I won't be able to hear the song anymore, if that makes sense. Like you start to almost hum along to something that isn't quite done. And then I'm like, where is the right thing? And I'll get lost in it. So I can't leave it undone. Welcome to my brain.
Having to finish something that you've started, I guess that can be quite hard, because there might be stuff that is just really hard to finish and you might not want to finish it anymore, I suppose.
Yes, and if I don't want to finish it, then I scrap it. I used to complete it and think, I'll just get to the end and see if it's worth it. But now that I understand the value of time, I'm like, you know what, if it's not going anywhere, really, and you get that sense. You know, I don't know if you are a musician in any way, but It's you get that thing of like, oh yeah, we're gonna sit here until it's done, or it's really I might as well go get like a sandwich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you get that feeling.
Yeah. I know what I'd choose, and it's not the continuing to write music.
Right. You have something else, exactly.
Yeah.
You have your own version of that.
Yeah. I'd choose the sandwich every day.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I would choose the chocolate any day.
Oh, yeah. That's an upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. We moved up from your sandwich.
And chocolate sandwich, that could work.
That could work.
Yeah.
And in Europe, that's a very common thing, you know?
Is it?
Yeah, chocolate between two pieces of bread. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, how did you first get interested in making music originally then?
Well, that's a good question. I don't, what I attribute it to really, and I don't know, because how do you ever really know? But is the fact that my father used to bring me to a Baptist church in Harlem when I was growing up. So I was about 6 years old, and he would leave me there. Basically, he would leave me there. But he would bring me in on Sundays, and it was a very spiritual experience, much more so at the time than really a religious experience. It was just to go and experience the whole thing, listen to the music. And I would just sit there, and I was like, with my mouth open like this for hours, listening to just this amazing gospel music. And so I think that over time that kind of went in, and that sort of helped form everything. And then it just always has been music. It was never a question of, what shall I do when I grow up? It was just always, although I did want to be a driller at one point, like to drill that was a kind of side thing, but I did want that. But again, because I wanted to sing and have it go, So yes, it's always kind of been music, and I attribute it to that, even though who knows,
And I guess drilling and music, they're both jobs where you can kind of be surrounded by vibration in a way.
There you go. See, exactly.
And somebody's probably made some music with a drill somewhere, some kind of music concrete thing, I guess.
That's it. That's opera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then, how did you kind of start doing music professionally? Was there a particular project that was your first one?
Well, that's a good question. Project I wouldn't remember necessarily, but it was just always. So I went from being the age I was, that my father would take me to these jazz clubs. And then I had absolutely no fear when I was younger, because, you're too young to know to be scared yet. So I would start singing, and I would sing in these jazz clubs that I wasn't even allowed to get into, or I wasn't even allowed in because of my age, but he would sneak me in everywhere and say, go sing, so I'd go and sing. And then it was high school. I locked myself in the music room, which was a public music room, by the way. And I would put recording in progress on the door every day so that it became my room. So it was always music. And then I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston for, what is it called? College? Hello? Berklee College of Music. And that was, of course, extremely helpful with regard to filling a lot of blanks in the world of music. So it's just, first project, I just don't know, because it's just so much, but it's always been that. I mean, I was putting on plays in high school, one-woman shows, and there was always music. It was constant music everywhere.
Yeah. How would you describe the style of the music you make, and has it changed since you started?
I would describe it, so I've always had a hard time with this because I've sounded like 20 million different people in all of my songs, but basically I say it's soulful pop, sort of an organic soulful pop. And how has it changed? I think it's just changed in the sense that my voice has gone through so much, because I sing with a paralyzed left vocal cord, and through all of the things I've experienced, it's been through like a war zone, my voice. So what's changed mostly is probably by actual voice. But in terms of the style, I think it's actually finding its style kind of now for the first time. It's been all over the place. It was like major pop when I was younger, and then it was jazzy, and then it was gospel-y, and then now it's sort of turned into this soulful pop thing with actually a lot of gospel at its core, and also very faith-based right now, I think, just again because of everything I've been through. So I just let it go where it wants to go. You know what I mean? It's just become a lot more, I would say, in a way, like spiritual in its nature. I don't know if that even is right to say in the way of, does it really explain anything? Because of course all music has its own sort of spirituality, but it's become a lot more faith-based, actually, Yeah.
That's certainly interesting, and I suppose it's great to experiment with all kinds of different genres and stuff to see what you really like.
Yes, it is. And I have.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of found itself now. It's much less contrived, I think. Before it was a lot about music and the industry and what I should be writing, what I should be singing, and now it's very much what I feel and what I want to say,
Definitely. And I guess because you mentioned at the start about the song kind of being inspired by your lung operation, has that kind of affected your voice in a way, or is the lungs not really to do with the voice? I'm not really a biologist.
Yes, it does. And I didn't know that. This is all stuff I'm learning right now.
Yeah.
But basically, yes, my lungs which is incredible to have these new lungs, but I didn't actually realize how much breathing could help you sing. I mean, you think that of course it would, but yes is the answer. Again, the hardest part for me has been the vocal cord paralysis, harder than even not breathing, which is a weird thing.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? But the lungs have allowed me to expand in a way that I didn't know I could expand. And so, yes, it's, and I couldn't even get on stage at one point. I was so short of breath. So being able to move a little bit and, I mean, yes is the answer. It's dramatic. And I'm learning as I go this new feeling that I'm like so unaware of and so not used to, and it's constantly changing. So I can let you know in a year what it's like, but it's constantly changing.
Yeah. And I guess people say a lot that you need to sing from the heart, which I guess most of the time is metaphorical. But if there was a physical way of that being true, I guess that would be partly because of the lungs. It's in the same area and you're singing from here rather than singing from here, people say a lot.
Yes. And I've always been confused about that too. But I think, I think now that I can open, it just feels like it's coming from a little bit of an easier place, whatever that means, you know what I mean? It just goes open and, so, and I'm still building a lot.
Yeah.
Like I still have a long way to go to get myself back to where I need to be. But just the fact that it it's this relearning process, because these lungs in the beginning, they're not even connected nerve-wise. Like you have to kind of breathe them, you know what I mean? And teach them to become part of your body. So it's a pretty crazy thing. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And you're a part of Super Brave Kids as well, right?
I'm a part of it. I created it. Yes, but I am. And I like actually that you said I'm a part of it because that makes me feel like I'm a kid myself, which I feel like. But yes, I created Super Brave Kids, and it really stemmed from this thing called the Smile Tour, which is where I would go. This was before coronavirus. We were going to hospitals throughout the U.S. and performing for these kids. And I would, after these performances, I would sit with them on their beds and just talk and talk and talk. And I was like, oh my gosh, these kids know so much about life. And they've been through so much, and they're so happy and so grateful. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to like bring this out into the world. I can't just let this go. This is amazing information. So this tour, which was actually inspired by Humeira Bodania, who's an 8-year-old girl who lost her battle to pulmonary hypertension. She and I had a very close connection, and the whole Smile Tour is for her. And then that led to coronavirus hitting, and I'm like, how can I do this interview, And then I thought, okay, I'm going to interview these kids on Zoom, and I'm going to bring out all of this from them. And really, it's them feeling empowered by empowering the world with all of these things that they've learned, and it's just a wonderful thing. And they're superheroes, and they discover their, superhero traits, and their challenges are the reason that not the reason, but they reveal, all of these superhero traits that they have. So it's really a wonderful thing, and it makes me very happy. I thought it was going to be depressing because, you're talking to a lot of people with a lot of problems, but it's just the way they see life and everything. It's so the opposite of depressing. It's so inspiring, Yeah. And they're kids, so they're honest.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Yeah. And I think kids in general are quite energetic and generally optimistic. So I suppose kids with these kind of problems in their lives will still be more optimistic than adults with similar problems.
That's right. And then they're, again, like the honesty is what I love so much, because you're not wasting your time, in my opinion, with kids, because they're going to tell you, I don't like that, but you're really going to get the truth. So when you get something that's actually powerful. It's really coming from a true source, you know? And I think it's wonderful. So selfishly, I enjoy these episodes probably more than anyone else. You know?
Same.
Yeah.
Well, where are we able to check out all your music and also check out the Super Brave Kids website as well?
Music is all everywhere. It's all on Spotify, iTunes, everything is my name, my full name, Chloe Tempchin. Chloe, and then Tempchin, Temtchine. So if you go to any social network, is that what it's called?
I think so.
I'm from the year 1800, by the way. You'll find me, except for TikTok, I'm Chloe Q Tempchin. But anyway, ChloeTempchin.com, SuperBraveKids.com. And that's for Super Brave Kids. And I have a foundation as well, the Chloe Tempchin Foundation.org. Yeah. And that helps me support all of these endeavors. So if anybody wants to give us $50 million, go for it. Yeah, or even just 100.
Yeah.
But I always mention my foundation because it is the way that through sponsorships, grants, donations, whatever it may be, that's how we fund all these projects. If not, it's Chloe Tempchin funding all these projects. And that means I don't get to eat my dinner. So yes, Toby, if you would like to, partake. Just kidding. Yeah. So that's sort of the easiest way is just look for my name and you'll find me.
Great. I'll have a search through my piggy bank tonight.
Exactly. For hand over 5 cents,
Yeah.
Anything helps.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on the show today. It's been great having you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.